AEW, Tony Khan, MJF, Adam Cole, everyone that was a part of this historic event, all in Wembley Stadium. 81,000 plus paid, over 90,000 in the stadium itself. Every single one of them accomplished history in professional wrestling, because for the first time, at least since I've been a professional wrestling fan, at least since 2005, at least from my book, and even looking back at other events before that, All In this past weekend felt a whole lot like WrestleMania. AEW's version of WrestleMania. And that is an absolute fantastic thing to say about a company that is competition to WWE, that is trying to get to the point where it actually can compete head to head with World Wrestling Entertainment. And everything about the show, the whole camera angles of the entire stadium, a packed stadium, the matches themselves, everything about this show made you want to watch AEW, keep watching AEW, become an AEW fan all around. So I'm hoping this became one of AEW's biggest pay-per-view buy rates in the company's history, and this leads to some kind of growth for the company in the very near future. And I just want to talk about the main event, because the main event, Maxwell Jacob Friedman defending his AEW World's Heavyweight Championship against his new tag team partner, his tag team partner and new Ring of Honor tag team champion, Adam Cole, Bay, the team better known as Better Than You, Bay. Well, they had a main event for the ages, because the story that they told during the match was fantastic. They proved me wrong. I thought, for a matter of fact, that Adam Cole would turn on MJF, that they would not become Ring of Honor tag team champions. That did not happen. They beat the Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, Aussie Open, to become Ring of Honor tag team champions. Might have been better to do it in a longer match, simply because they are tag team champions. But again, I digress. That leads us into the main event. Roderick Strong getting involved. Both of them trying to out-cheat each other. Sportsmanship. They're trusting in each other to, okay, you want to cheat. I know what you want to do. I know how much the world title means to you. So go ahead. Hit me with the dynamite. Doesn't ring? Nope. Hit me with the world title belt? Nope. That whole back and forth with the steel chair. Like, you got the chair, I got the chair, you got the chair, I got the chair. The referee with his head turned. And then the final moment of that very same encounter. MJF wrapping that chair around his neck, laying on his back, and then the referee fighting it out, and the whole entire stadium going nuts, clapping, because it was absolute beauty to see that on our television screens, to see that kind of entertainment, to see that kind of story told, and it not be just a spot fest. And of course, you can never expect that from MJF, because he is the real thing. He is the real deal. He is the face of AEW, for better or for worse, and he should be carrying this company for the next decade and a half. It's that damn simple. And granted, by the result of the match itself, MJF defeating Adam Cole by pinfall to retain his championship. And then Adam Cole raising his hand in front of 80,000 plus UK fans in Wembley Stadium. It seems like Tony Khan and AEW Creative is running with MJF as a babyface. And who could blame him? Like I said, when it comes to wrestling, the worst thing you can do is bore people. Get no reaction at all. And that is something that MJF has never done. Even if he's a heel, you want to boo him, but damn, he's the entertaining. And now he's a babyface. People want to cheer him, even though he's a bit of an asshole. He's a bit of a prick. But guess what? He's entertaining as hell. So people pay attention, and they pay to see him wrestle. And Maxwell Jacob Friedman is that once-in-a-lifetime generational superstar. Not only for AEW, but more importantly, yes, for AEW. Hopefully he sticks around with AEW for the long run. But in professional wrestling itself. And what is he, 26, 27? He's still very young. He hasn't even hit his prime in his professional wrestling career. I mean, everything about the main event of this show screamed all-timer. It screamed Just WrestleMania worthy main event. And props to Tony Khan, props to AEW, props to UK fans themselves for showing up and making this show what it was. And guess what? They're getting their reward next year. Because next year, on August 25th, I believe Tony Khan said during the press conference, AEW is returning to Wembley Stadium for the third edition of All In. And this might become a yearly thing, and I'm all for it. Simply because we need that kind of bump in wrestling business. It can't just be WWE, because we've lived through that after WCW, during TNA. It wasn't the best. We need both products to be hot, and All In accomplished that. Now, as far as the story goes, we have All Out this upcoming weekend in Chicago, Illinois. I don't believe any matches have been announced other than the fact that Darby Allin is challenging for the TNT Championship at that pay-per-view. But I gotta say, and I'm just going to throw this prediction out there. I know I was wrong for this All-In pay-per-view with Adam Cole turning on MJF. It did not happen. Okay, I can accept it. I got entertained. I don't mind being wrong. I'm wrong most of the time. I don't care. Entertain me. Give me something so entertaining that I just forget about what I had in mind. So this upcoming Wednesday night on Dynamite, I'm fully expecting Adam Cole to turn on MJF, and they have a rematch at All In. All Out, sorry. Yeah, All Out in Chicago. Kind of confusing. But, again, that's just a prediction out there. But they might not do it. They might not go with it because, again, they're entertaining as hell on TV. They've built up a very particular fan base that knows these two men work together so damn well. They're top merchandise sellers for sure, both individually and now as a tag team. So why would they break them up right now? Go figure. But I just feel like that would be the next logical, natural progression for the story. We'll just have to wait and see. As far as the other matches go, as far as the other matches are concerned, 10 matches, I believe, on the card. The show went by pretty damn quick. And I gotta say, that's mostly because of the crowd, how rowdy the crowd was, the presentation of the matches themselves, the opening match, opening contest, singles match for the Real World Championship, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, Real World title. I was expecting them to go a little bit longer with that. Again, it is Punk versus Joe. But they didn't, and CM Punk retained his fake championship, much like Hook became FTW champion again. So, back-to-back, unsanctioned fake championships on the line. You already know my thoughts on that. Not really a fan. But overall, a good opening contest between Punk and Joe. That's what you had to do. And I loved it. 6-man tag team match. Konosuke Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold defeated the Golden Elite. And of course, the entire story coming out of this match is the fact that Takeshita pinned Kenny Omega in the middle of the ring. In a 6-man tag team match, yes, but this means we might get Takeshita versus Kenny Omega at All Out in Chicago, or maybe even later down the line. And these two men can go. And this is a story that AEW should be focusing in a whole lot more. With Don Callis as well. But again, they've tried to place Don Callis with Chris Jericho for some dumb reason. I don't know what's going on there. But as far as Takeshita pitting Kenny Omega during this match, 6-man tag team match, it was the right call to do it. Puts the young guy over, gets him some heat with the crowd, and then that leads into a match with Kenny Omega down the line, which again will be a show stealer. So props on AEW Creative for that. We had the tag team title match between FTR defending their titles, successfully defending their tag team titles against the Young Bucks. And what can I say? They delivered in every single aspect for this match. The tag team wrestling was on point. The Young Bucks came pretty damn close to dethroning FTR for the titles. But again, the momentum, the story heading into the match, it wouldn't have made sense for the Young Bucks to actually win it. Because they had just returned to the tag team division, proper tag team division, a month and a half ago? And FTR's been doing it for years. They haven't broken up. They haven't taken a break. They are the tag team champions. They are world class. They are the 7-star tag team. It just makes sense for FTR to retain the titles and then eventually down the line, a heel Santana and Ortiz. They might take those titles off of him once and for all. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Will it happen? I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and see. As far as that Stadium Stampede match, again, just pure gold as far as moments. I mean, I think there was some skewers involved. John Moxley, of course, he had to bleed his own blood in front of that rowdy 90,000 plus crowd in Wembley Stadium. We had Sue make an appearance. God, I love that van. I mean, Stadium Stampede, you kind of had to do it. Wembley Stadium Stampede. Makes sense. Logical sense. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, Best Friends, Penta, and Cero Miedo defeated the BCC and Santana and Ortiz. I wasn't expecting that to happen because, again, the BCC has been on a lot of losing contests, losing feuds, losing rivalries. I mean, they're vicious as hell when it comes to violence in the middle of the ring, but they keep losing. And I don't know if it's a matter of, okay, Bryan Danielson is out, so that's why they can't really win. But, I mean, you got Moxley and Castagnoli and even Wheeler Yuta there. So I don't think that should be any problem as to why BCC can't go over. But I get it. You want to get the pops. And speaking of pops, we have the Saraya pop. That she won the Women's World Championship in that four-way match. Much like 5 years ago, they had a four-way match between the women. In this case, Saraya defeated the former champion, Hikaru Shida, then champion, Toni Storm, her friend from the Outcast, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Yeah, I know it's not a part of it, but I like to say that. And again, yet another instance of crowd pleasing. In my opinion, again, you might hate me for this. I've not been a fan of Saraya returning to AEW or professional wrestling for that matter. She hasn't done anything at all to catch my attention, not to mention to even become Women's World Champion at this stage in her career. And I get it. She has pedigree. She has accomplishments. She has a ton of history. She is goated amongst professional wrestling in terms of women's wrestling. But the only reason she won the Women's World Championship at All In, and again, you're going to hate me for this comment, but I don't care. It's just my thoughts. And again, it's my thoughts and my opinion. I'm sure 0% of you agree with me. But she only won this match because we're in Wembley Stadium, UK. Saraya, in her home country. In front of 80,000, 90,000 plus. Years after having to be forced to, quote-unquote, retire, not being able to compete with WWE under the name Paige while still being under contract, makes her return to AEW. She takes it easy for the first few months. She doesn't really take too many bumps. Then she goes back and forth between actually having matches and actually just being a pseudo manager on TV. Again, everything that Saraya's brought to the table since her return, for me at least, doesn't spell Women's World Champion. And I get it. It's a four-way match. Anything can happen. And, anything did happen. She became Women's World Champion. And this will play down the line between Saraya and Toni Storm, because Toni Storm was champion not too long ago. Ruby Soho wants to be champion. The Outcast drama for the title should be good if they decide to go that route. But again, I just feel like Dr. Britt Baker winning the title in Wembley would have been perfect. It would have been better. It would have placed her at the top of the women's division where she should always be as far as AEW is concerned. But again, like I said, got for the win was enough to really take my mind off of the fact that this was just pandering to the fans in the stadium at that moment in time. So again, congratulations to Saraya, but I would not have made her champion. Just a personal opinion. Again, I feel like Especially with AEW, you have to build them up a little bit more. It's a professional wrestling company. That's what they call themselves, not sports entertainment, professional wrestling company. Okay, give Saraya some matches, give her some momentum, then make her champion. But I remiss. Then we have the coffin match, tag team match. Sting, I love the fact that he got to perform in front of this rowdy-ass crowd. Another WrestleMania-like stage for the Stinger. And guess what? He actually wins, just like I predicted. Darby Allin, Sting defeated Swerve, Strickland, and Christian Cage in that coffin match. Excuse me. My voice is going a little bit. But, like I said, I'm hoping this is Sting's last match. Again, he's 60 plus years old. Father Time catches up to all of us. You can notice that. Last night at All In. Again, just my personal opinion. Stop tainting your legacy. Stop tainting your career. Just retire. Pass the torch, as you've, in my opinion, already done to Darby Allin. Let him keep it. Let him run with it. And just let the kid be the new face that you represented back in WCW. And Swerve, come on. Swerve was just perfect for the stage in Wembley Stadium. He did not miss a beat. He did not seem like he was out of his element in this big Wembley show against Sting and Christian Cage, two legends of professional wrestling, against Darby Allin, who has gained a ton of experience since he came to AEW. So again, Darby Allin should be moving on to bigger, better things. He's already burnt that bridge as far as the AEW World title is concerned. He has a TNT title match coming up at All Out in Chicago. And I think he could beat Luchasaurus for the championship. We'll just have to wait and see. Will Ospreay, well, what can I say? One of the best performers in the world. Carried Chris Jericho through this entire match. Enough said. Y2J did not need this match. He did not need this spot. I firmly believe that Will Ospreay versus Ricky Starks. How can Ricky Starks not have been on this freaking card? Or Miro, for that matter. So many stars that were not a part of this show. And Chris Jericho was. And I get it. He's a big name. He's a legend. Business, marketable, all of it. I get it. Best for business, whatever. But just like with Sting, Chris Jericho is tainting his legacy, in my opinion, by still being around at this stage of his career. And even though he had a tremendous match with Will Ospreay last night in London, tremendous stage, I mean, it's Will Ospreay. It's very hard to have a bad match with Will Ospreay. End of it all, Will Ospreay got the win. That's the most important part of it. And like I said, his contract, like he said, his contract's coming up in a few months. AEW better pick him up, sign him up. And I'm pretty sure that Will Ospreay wants to be a part of AEW at this point. Especially knowing the fact that All In is going to be taking place from Wembley next year, and hopefully every single consecutive year after that. They even mentioned Aztec Stadium in Mexico City. And I'm not going to lie, like, Mexico City is a lot closer to me than London, so I'm hoping that does happen. Because I want to freaking go to one of these, man. I want to see this in person. Just the experience of a freaking WrestleMania that is not WWE. Gotta see it for myself one day. So hopefully one day we'll get there. And then finally, the Acclaimed, the biggest scissoring of all time. They became World Trios champions. House rules, no hold bars. House of Black played by their own rules. They fell on their own sword. And the Acclaimed, Bowens, Caster, Billy Gunn, they did what they had to do, of course. They got the job done. Would not have been my call because, again, the House of Black has really been not poised, not positioned, actually, as a threat to anyone in AEW, or at least not a credible threat as far as the stable goes. So we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed winning the Trios Championships. That brings some interest. And again, the Acclaimed is one of the most over acts, not only in AEW, but in professional wrestling today. So them winning the championships, it's not a bad thing, putting them over, because they've stayed over since they were tag team champions way that long ago. So again, they've been able to keep their momentum. They've been able to keep their popularity. That's a lot thanks to Rampage and Collision, giving them the TV time that they so desperately need to really get their act even more over and keep them over. But House of Black, I felt like needed to win a little bit more. But overall, like I said, All In was just special. A special historic event. It went by so damn quickly. I did not feel the time at all. Every single match flowed, every single moment that they gave us, and honestly, I can't wait for next year's All In. I can't wait for All Out this upcoming weekend. Yes, in a smaller crowd, a smaller setting, but again, AEW could really use this boost in momentum, this boost in popularity, the incredible high that they reached in London this past Sunday, and use it, hopefully, grow their brand awareness, grow their ratings, their viewership, get bigger deals, all of it, because the pro wrestling scene desperately needs that. So with that said, what are your thoughts on All In, the historic pay-per-view event from London last night? Tony Khan, AEW Creative, everyone involved in AEW did a fantastic job. What are your thoughts on the show itself? What do you think is coming this upcoming week on AEW TV and then All Out this weekend? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comments section below. I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.